Ly Tu Diem. Hello everyone. I wish you good health and endless peace in life. Yet peace is something she herself has never truly held. Behind her soft smile is a heart carved with scars, a soul wandering between love and betrayal. There is a secret fragile enough to heal with tenderness, but dangerous enough to shatter everything. And with her return, Tu Diem carries both the light of hope and the storm of fate, a storm that may change every destiny it touches.
The night was heavy with silence, yet Toan could not rest. His heart had grown used to the emptiness of waiting, the ache of searching for someone who had once been the light of his darkest days. Then, like the sudden whisper of a forgotten melody, Tu Diem appeared again. Her eyes still carried the gentleness he remembered, but behind them lingered shadows of pain, secrets untold, and storms waiting to break free. When Toan saw her standing at the gate, drenched in rain, he felt both relief and fear. Relief that she had returned, fear that her return might not be forever. Tu Diem's presence was no longer that of a fragile girl running from despair. She was stronger now, yet her silence spoke of battles she had fought alone. Toan's voice trembled, his steps hesitant. As if approaching a dream that might vanish with a single breath, she smiled faintly, but her tears betrayed the weight she carried. For days, she stayed under Toan's roof, and hope blossomed in his heart once more. His mother, who once doubted her, now treated Diem with warmth, moved by her sincerity and kindness. But beneath that fragile peace lay a truth too dangerous to ignore. Diem held a secret one that could mend the bond between her and Toan, or shatter it forever. Late one evening, as the wind howled outside, Diem finally spoke. Her voice was soft, yet heavy, like a confession carved from the soul. Toan, there are things you don't know, things that could change everything. Toan looked at her, his heart pounding, yet his gaze steady. Whatever it is, Diem, I would rather face it with you than lose you again. Her secret was a storm, waiting to decide whether it would wash them apart or cleanse their love into something unbreakable. When Tu Diem returned, the house that once held silence now trembled with emotions that words could not contain. Toan looked at her as if he had been waiting for centuries, his heart racing between joy and fear. He wanted to rush forward, to hold her, but the shadow in her eyes warned him that her return was not a simple homecoming. Diem, Toan whispered, his voice breaking. You're here, finally. She forced a faint smile, her lips trembling. Yes, I'm here, but I don't know if my return will heal or destroy. Toan stepped closer, searching her eyes for truth. He wanted to erase her pain, to promise her a life without storms. But Diem's presence carried a mystery. She held something inside her heart, a secret buried deep, that could either bind them forever or tear them apart. Days passed, and although Diem stayed by his side, the air between them was heavy with unspoken words. She cared for his mother, treated the staff with kindness, and walked through the halls of Toan's new home as if she belonged there. Yet, in quiet moments, Toan would catch her staring into the distance, lost in thought, clutching a letter hidden inside her pocket. One evening, under the silver glow of the moon, Diem finally spoke. Toan, before we dream of a future together, you must know the truth about me, about where I've been, about what I've lost. Her voice quivered, and Toan felt his heart tighten. He had prayed for her return, but now he feared what her words might reveal. Would her secret mend the bond they fought so hard to protect? Or would it shatter everything they built, leaving only ashes of love? The storm was here, and both of them stood at the edge, waiting for the first thunder to strike. Tu Diem sat quietly by the window of Toan's new home, the city lights reflecting in her eyes. The room was warm, filled with comfort she had never known before, yet her heart remained restless. She had returned, yes, but returning did not erase the shadows of her past. The memory of being rejected, sold, and abandoned still echoed inside her. Toan walked in, carrying the cups of tea. His eyes softened when he saw her, the woman he had almost lost forever. Placing the cup gently beside her, he said, "You don't have to keep running anymore. You are safe here." But Tu Diem shook her head. "Safe," she whispered, her voice trembling. "What if your mother cannot accept me? What if the truth of my past destroys everything we are trying to build?" Toan reached out, taking her hand firmly. "Diem, love is not about perfection. It's about choosing each other, again and again, despite everything. I will fight for us, no matter the storms." Just then, the door opened. Toan's mother entered, her gaze heavy and unreadable. For a moment, silence ruled the air. Then, slowly, she spoke. "Tu Diem, I know who you are. I know what you've been through. But the question is, will you let the past rule you? Or will you have the courage to start anew?" Tu Diem's heart pounded. She had feared this moment more than anything. Yet, standing there, she realized she had a choice to hide behind her scars or to embrace hope. Tears welled in her eyes as she bowed her head. "I want to live honestly. I want to love without fear. But I cannot do this alone." Toan squeezed her hand tighter, his voice steady as a promise. "You will never be alone again." And in that fragile moment, where hope and storms collided, a new chapter began, not just for Tu Diem, but for all of them. The storm did not pass quickly. Tu Diem's return stirred more than hope. It awakened wounds that had never fully healed. CEO Toan stood by her side, shielding her from whispers of the world. Yet even he could not silence the doubts of his own mother. Madame Lan, though softened by Diem's suffering, still carried the heavy pride of a matriarch. Every glance she gave Diem was filled with both caution and unspoken questions. Can this girl truly belong to our world, or will she destroy it? Diem, though grateful for Toan's unwavering presence, felt the weight of her secret pressing harder each day. The truth of her forced marriage, the cruel betrayal she had endured, and the night she had been nearly sold, these memories burned inside her like fire. She wanted to tell Toan everything, yet fear tightened her lips. What if he turned away? What if, after all he had sacrificed, she became nothing but another storm in his life? Toan, sensing her hesitation, often held her hand and whispered, "No matter what you hide, I will stand with you. Don't let fear steal our future." But Diem's heart trembled. She wanted to believe him. She wanted to surrender completely to love. And yet, shadows from her past kept following her, shadows that now threatened to step into the light. One evening, as rain fell heavily against the windows of their new home, a letter arrived. The handwriting was familiar, sharp, and cruel. It was from her former family, the people who had once tried to sell her. The message was clear. "Return to us, or your secret will be revealed. Toan will know everything." Diem's hand shook as she read the words. She felt the storm rising again, not outside, but inside her soul. She had two choices: face the truth and risk losing the man who had given up everything for her, or run once more, before the storm could destroy them both. And for the first time, Diem realized a secret could either be mended, if shared in love, or broken, if hidden in silence. Tu Diem sat quietly by the window of Toan's new home, her eyes tracing the falling rain outside. The silence was heavy, yet comforting in a way, like a pause before a storm. She had returned, but her heart still carried scars of betrayal, fear, and the haunting memories of her past. Every breath in this house reminded her that she was no longer alone, but it also whispered the dangers that still lingered in the shadows. Toan entered the room with 2 cups of tea, his expression soft but searching. He placed 1 cup before her, then sat across from her, studying the face he had longed to see for months. "Diem," he said gently, "you don't have to carry everything by yourself anymore. You came back, and that means you still trust me, at least a little." Her lips trembled, unsure of what to say. Part of her wanted to believe in his words, to rest in the safety of his presence, but another part feared that her return would only bring him more danger. "Toan," she whispered, "I came back because I couldn't keep running. But the truth, the secret I carry, it might destroy everything you've built." Toan leaned forward, his eyes unwavering. "Then let it destroy everything, if it must. Nothing matters more than you. Not the company, not the fortune, none of it compares to your life." Her heart tightened at his words. She remembered the night she slept in the cold forest, starving, clinging to survival. Yet it was his face that kept her going. And now, he was right here, ready to fight the storms that her secret might unleash. But shadows were already moving. Outside, unseen by both of them, a figure lingered in the rain, watching the warm light of the house with cold, calculating eyes. The storm had only begun. The story of Toan and Tu Diem teaches us that love is not only about passion and happiness, but also about courage, forgiveness, and sacrifice. Tu Diem returned with both hope and storms, reminding us that every relationship carries hidden wounds and secrets. Yet, it is how we face them that decides whether love can be mended or broken forever. Toan showed us that true love is patient. It waits, it protects, and it does not abandon even in the darkest hour. Tu Diem's journey reflected resilience, the ability to stand up after endless suffering, and the courage to choose love despite the scars of the past. Their struggles remind us that trust is fragile like glass, but once carefully rebuilt, it shines even brighter than before. In life, every heart has secrets. Some are painful, some are filled with regret. But if we choose honesty and kindness, love can become the bridge that heals even the deepest wounds. The greatest lesson here is simple: love without fear, forgive without hesitation, and protect the one who truly matters, because second chances do not come often.